So Donald Trump is on a warpath, maybe a crusade even, against Pope Leo. There's been kind of ongoing rumblings of discontent with the Pope from the White House. The Pope, kind of understandably, is not a big fan of Trump's migration policies. He's not keen on locking up illegal migrants. He also has been very outspoken against the war. And it's led to this bizarre situation where Trump is hitting back, I mean, most notably and probably most famously through these sort of AI-generated pictures of himself as Jesus.
Or as a doctor.
Well, Trump claims as a doctor.
He mistook it for...
Did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that?
I think we could show it on screen, and you can decide whether you think it's a doctor or Jesus. But there's also been these other bizarre rows, like, the White House has been calling in, like, the diplomats from the Vatican to give them a dressing down. And I don't want to turn this podcast into the rest is history, but it's interesting that Elbridge Colby, one of the White House officials, started talking about the Avignon papacy, which is this obscure, period in time from several hundred years ago when the Pope didn't reside in Rome and resided in France instead over some, religious schism. What kind of world are we living in? It's this madness.
No, kind of extended beef with the Pope was not on my 2026 bingo card, but there we go. Donald Trump is nothing if not unpredictable. Or is he? I mean, this is the thing about Trump. There's certain figures that he is quite deferent to, because he does appreciate status and leadership, and he kind of sees, whether it's the royals or indeed the Holy Father, as a kind of level of super celebrity to which he is quite attracted. Like there was that very funny picture of the late Pope and Trump and Melania Trump having a kind of grinning photo next to him whilst he looked pretty... Pope Francis looked pretty unimpressed. So there has been... But at the same time, as soon as they get on the wrong side of him, it's just all bets are off. And, it's not that... It's something that people could... It's better, obviously, Trump has never claimed to be a Catholic. He does claim to be a Christian, but those claims have often collided with his own lack of interest, shall we say. I mean, it was back in 2015, I think, when he was running for the primary, got asked in an interview, what's your favourite book of the Bible? He said all of them.
All of them. And don't ask that, it's personal.
Which is a fantastic retort. And it's also interesting because the fact that Trump increased his share of the vote amongst Catholics last time around, there's also a lot of quite high-profile kind of Catholic converts in his own administration. I believe Elbridge Colby is one, or certainly is Catholic, I think. J.D. Vance, of course, as well, who this week was actually kind of lecturing the Pope on theology, saying that he got it wrong, it wasn't based in truth. Which is, some might say takes some brass neck from somebody who joined the church not that long ago, but nevertheless, it's an interesting schism. But on the point of, popes or religious figures kind of weighing in times of war, it's also a bit tricky because, well, what can sound like a kind of high-minded defense of just peace and all the rest of it can often just sound like siding with the aggressors, or at least the side that one wouldn't want to side with in this case. So it's a mess, but it's nothing if not entertaining, dare I say.
No, and there was a similar controversy over, basically the previous Pope calling for peace in, the Russia-Ukraine war, and we know that peace means surrender in that context. I mean, I'm not a fan of religion in politics, but it feels a bit churlish to say the pontiff should stop pontificating. So it is kind of his job, to be fair. Patrick, what have you made of this? I know I'm interested in what you think, because I was on GB News the other day talking about this, and I know it's really divided the viewership. Half, like a lot of people saying, especially the AI photos, saying it's disrespectful, and many others saying the Pope should put a sock in it. This is
what camp were you in?
One thing I think is absolutely hilarious is that apparently Pope Leo's brother, Lou Prevost, is a massive Republican, right? So he's been a vocal MAGA movement supporter and has openly supported President Trump. So the Pope's brother is like, bomb Iran, lads, right? And the Pope is like, nah, war's bad. What I would have liked to have seen the Pope done was, whilst acknowledging that war is bad and, look, Trump might not necessarily be entirely in control of things, is also acknowledging that the Islamist Ayatollah of Iran who wants to actually kill everyone in the Vatican, is bad. Right, that would have been quite nice. Like, I think he could have done both because, at the moment it's very much like, hey, we can all peacefully coexist. Not with the Ayatollah. I'm not saying they should have done what they've done, but it's like it would have been like him going, oh, you should have put Bin Laden on trial, and it's like, well, World Trade Center, all that stuff. So I would have liked to see the Pope be a little bit more nuanced in the fact that he's like, does he actually believe that in his case, like Catholicism is the religion? Because he's giving the Ayatollah a lot more credit than the Ayatollah would give him. But there you go. But I mean, it's interesting though as well. I was looking at Trump, as you mentioned there, got a lot of stick for his post about the Jesus doctor thing. Right? So I thought, okay, that was weird, and he's deleted it. But if you look at Rachel Reeves's X account, right? She posted yesterday boasting about how much money we're spending on Ukraine's defense, whilst currently asking our Ministry of Defense to cut £3.5 billion. David Lammy's Twitter feed, here we go. We're reforming our prison system. He's let one prisoner out by mistake every 48 hours since the April before. Keir Starmer, we're fixing the foundations. 5.2% unemployment, 16% youth unemployment, 1.5 million more on universal credit than when Labour came into power. And you think, was Trump's Jesus tweet actually like the most dishonest out of all of that?
There's probably no greater font of disinformation than Keir Starmer's Twitter account.
Yeah,
just because
it's like he's just not gone full Jesus, right?
Yeah,
but
and it's not that he lies.
Yeah,
he lives in a parallel universe where everything's going great and everyone loves the government. And
your bills are coming down. They're fucking not. They're not. There's a bit. I've got a bill here. It's gone up, mate.
Yeah. And we're all happily being fed by the breakfast clubs, at least. But that's it.
And I think it's we're all living in these largesse. I thought you were going to say for a second, Patrick, that Rachel Reeves had posted a meme of her as Jesus. I was like, I've missed this. This is being absolute.
She's definitely had her hair done, and she looks.
I don't know. I mean,
looking
she is being crucified in the polls.
Oh,
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
That's why you don't pay me.